Welcome to another week of Experience Andy Wines Live. Today, we're going to be talking about how comparison is the thief of joy. First, I always want to start things off with a moment of gratitude. This week, I want to celebrate my daughter and how thankful I am to have her in my life. My daughter's 10 years old, 10 and a half, should let you know. And over the last week, we got to spend our Christmas week together. She continues to show me what joy looks like in this world and unconditional love as that love goes both ways. Both of us were started the week off strong, and then we got sick about halfway through the week, as it goes often with the holidays. And what I realized, and this is a common theme in life, is when the pressure's on, when shit hits the fan, right? When we focus, or when we drop down to that subconscious, right? When we're consciously unaware, we're operating out of our subconscious, out of our fight, flight, or freeze methodology. Sometimes what ends up happening is the best of us, the real us, comes out at times. And, often people will say that controversy builds character, and not really. It brings out character, it brings out who you truly are. When you're down and out, how do you show up? And my daughter showed up for me this weekend, even when she was down and out and sick and thrown up into a bucket and a hot mess of a child. She still had patience and love and understanding. And then when I got sick at 10 years old, she's coming in, checking up on me. And she's making sure I'm doing well. And she's asking me how she's feeling or how I'm feeling. And she's telling me how much she loves me and how much she appreciates me. And so whether I was down and out or she was down and out, we were both there for each other. And so that unconditional love and that compassion in those moments of conflict, that's something I'm truly grateful for, because that connection that I have as a father and my daughter is unlike anything else. She's the reason why this last year, I said my battle cry was strong enough to be soft, because I saw a lot of the hardness in me coming out in her at 10. And I know that in order for her to be an empathetic, emotionally intelligent, compassionate human being, I need to display those behaviors to her. And 10 years ago when she was born and I come home from my deployment to Gitmo, I was about as hard as they come, and she was a little 18-month-old kid. She brought out that in me, which has helped me really on my journey over the last 10, 11 years, as I understood how to lead with more emotional intelligence and understanding and empathy. She's definitely the catalyst behind all that. So I'm extremely grateful for her in my life, and I'm extremely grateful. She's my favorite person and my best friend in the whole world. So very grateful for her in my life. Second order of business, paying the bills. Having picked up a few consulting clients the last couple of weeks, I'm realizing I'm really enjoying that. So I consult with primarily women. Maybe I'll get to a point of saying exclusively women that are in director level or above positions, or entrepreneurs, executive type women in their roles where they're looking for more guidance and mentorship as they want to either climb the corporate ladder or build their business. I got a great message this weekend from a woman that I did consulting with earlier in the year. And she's like, hey, I did all the things you told me, and now I'm going into next year so much better and more prepared than I was the previous year. And so that's who I like to focus on. And I'm starting to see that that's really the path of least resistance for me, that I'm picking up more coaching. I keep saying coaching, mentoring clients. So if there's things, or when there's things that resonate with you here on this show, resonate with what I write about in my book, and you want to dive deeper into getting to know who you are and how you can show up as your authentic, unique ability self, how you can bring out the greatness within you, hit me up. You can hit me up in the email, phone call, text message, Facebook Messenger, LinkedIn. I don't care. Get a hold of me. Let's chat. Let's see what we can do together. All right. Let's talk about what we're going to talk about today. How comparison is the thief of joy. Like I mentioned earlier, I was sick over the weekend. I'm still feeling it. Still not 100%. So I'm gonna struggle through the day, and yet we're gonna get through it, right? I'm gonna win by the end of the day. And what I realize is that when I compare myself to others, and when I compare myself to where others might have been or where I thought I would be, it's a total joy thief. And I had this experience recently. I was getting to know somebody, and that person started comparing me to other people. And I finally came to a head, and I finally said, I only compete against one person in the world. And that's who I was yesterday. And some days I win and some days I lose. I can tell you Saturday, I lost. Saturday was a losing proposition. Friday, I had a pretty good day, spent time with my daughter, went to a meeting for a couple hours. I was, this when my daughter was sick on Thursday night, especially she was really sick Thursday night. And I showed up as a father and I was great for her. I was able to be there to protect, provide, and serve her on Friday. When I came to work for a couple hours, I was able to, again, protect, provide, serve. Those are the three things that I do for other people, whether it's my employees, my daughter, my mother, whomever, right? Those are the three things that I focus on doing with people. Come Saturday, I was unable to protect, provide, or serve the people in my life. I was down and out. I was sick. I lost Saturday. There's no doubt about it. If I look at from Friday to Saturday, I lost. There's no doubt. And yet Sunday, I was able to do a little bit for myself and still not be able to protect, provide, or serve others because I was only getting through my sickness. And now today, I'm able to stand here in front of you and serve the audience and give my ideas to the world because I'm better than I was yesterday. And that's the only person I'm competing against. Previously in my life, I competed against everybody. When I was in grade school and high school, I wanted to compete against the, best looking kids and the most popular kids and the most athletic kids. And all it did is defeat me. And then I would compare myself to my ideals. Oh, I want to be here someday. By 30, I want to be here. 40, I want to be here. 50, I want to be here. And I would beat myself up because I wasn't there yet. And yet I hadn't given myself the time to get there yet. I was so focused on the end state. I was so focused on the result that by the time I was even getting close to it, it was so insignificant. And I took away all these minutes and hours and days and weeks and years of my life comparing myself to something I hadn't done yet. And once I started shifting my focus, saying, Andy, you only got to be better than yesterday, right? Jordan Peterson talks about this, right? When you continue to fail, maybe you're setting the bar too high. Lower the bar. It's better to achieve what you can achieve today than it is to fail habitually and never achieve what you could have achieved. And so now, like today, the fact that I'm here in front of you today on this show, talking, standing. Yesterday, I could barely stand for like more than 2 minutes. On Saturday, I couldn't even sit up. Yesterday, I watched the Packer game, and sitting up watching the Packer game, that was a win. Now the fact that I can stand here and articulate my thoughts, that's a win today. That's what I need to do today to win. So I look at the last 2-3 days. Okay, I lost on Saturday. I won a little bit on Sunday, and I'm winning today. All right. Like Meatloaf said, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. It's because I reframed my mind. Who do I need to show up as? Yeah, I didn't read a book this weekend or even get any reading time in. I didn't do a lot of the things that I habitually have done, and yet I know what right looks like. And so now I can compare myself to who I was yesterday, know who I was a week ago, know who I want to be a year from now, and all I got to do is be better than yesterday and accept the fact that there are days I'm going to fall down. There are 2 types of people in this world. There are mountain people that accept the peaks and valleys of this world. They're growth-minded. They go after it and they get it. They get up and they fall down. That's what they do. And there are fixed-minded people. They're the plateau people. They get to a certain place in life and they get comfortable. And comfortable is one deviation away from complacent. And as I learned in the military, complacency kills. They get on this plateau and they die there and they don't even know it. It's that quiet quitting phase that we have in today's society. Hell, people quietly quit on their marriages and their other relationships in life because they get to a point of, okay, I compared myself to the Joneses. I got pretty close to them. And you know what? That's fucking good enough. And yet there are the growth-minded people that say, no, I want more. Every day I want a little bit more. And I'm willing to lose. I'm willing to have a bad day. I'm willing to fail today because I also could have succeeded today. I'm willing to shake them dice. I come on this show every week for the last 60 some odd weeks. There are some shows that I end up feeling great. Last week's show, I felt great about. I walked out of here 10 feet tall. I was like, man, it was a good show. And there's other days where I'm like, what the fuck was I thinking? Right? And I'm only comparing myself to who I was yesterday, or in the case of this show, I'm only comparing myself to the last rep. And when I have a bad rep, that just means the bar is a little bit lower next week. And now it's a bar I can achieve because I can get there by putting in the work. When I tell people work is my favorite 4-letter word, I absolutely mean it. With enough reps, enough paces, eventually I will get good at what I'm doing. 18 minutes a day, that's what it takes. 18 minutes a day of doing something will give you mastery greater than 95% of the population when you continue to put in the work. It comes back to the comparison piece. When you start comparing yourself to your ideals, when you compare yourself to others, when you compare yourself to this figment of your imagination, all you're doing is pre-prepping yourself for a limiting self-belief. Oh, I'm not there yet because, oh, I could have this, but instead of saying, hey, this is where I'm at today. This is where I'm going, and this is what I'm going to do today because I want to do this. I want this great thing in my world. So what can I do today to achieve that great thing in this world? And now all of a sudden the conversation turns into empowerment. You get the little bit of dopamine drip when you do the fucking thing, not when you talk about it. Because as we know, when you're talking, you're thinking, you're trying, all you're doing is lying. And you're living as that plateau person that's only watching other people live their lives. You're not even the main character in your own story. You're living in that 80%, or that place where 80% of people live, somewhere between fear and anger. Angry because they're not where they thought they were going to be. Fearful of failing. And yet 20% of people are courageous enough to go out into this world and try to do new things. And they do, not even try, they do new things. They fail at new things. They succeed at new things because their only goal is to be better than they were the day before. 83% of Americans do not have goals. 14% of Americans that have goals never write them down. Only 3% of Americans have goals and write them down. That's the key, ladies and gentlemen. When you write down your goals, you get a clear idea what your North Star is. You know the direction you're going. You give yourself the time to get there. Then you can look at yourself in the mirror every day and say, okay, did I do what was necessary today to get myself one step closer? Because it's not a question of a step forward, a step back, a step sideways. A step is a step is a step. Every step along the journey counts. The destination you'll arrive to eventually. The key is to take those steps. And it starts by stopping comparing yourself to others. Stopping those limiting self-beliefs. Stop beating yourself up about what you didn't do, what you don't do, you can't do, you won't do. Start giving yourself the dopamine hits by doing the things that you know are necessary for you to achieve what you want. When your wants are greater than your excuses, when your wants are greater than your limiting self-beliefs, when your wants are greater than your fears, you will start achieving. You will no longer look at comparison as a default azimuth. You will look at where you are going and how are you getting there, and that will trump all this noise in your life. So I ask you this week, how are you showing up for yourself? Are you comparing yourself to others? To these ideals that are manufactured by this capitalistic society? Are manufactured by social media? What do you need to stop doing so you no longer compare yourself? Because compare yourself as a result of the actions, activities, and behaviors you do before that. What do you need to do today to stop comparing yourself to others? What do you need to do to start celebrating who you are? That unique ability. I talked about it before about what I do when I protect, I provide, and I serve my clients. What I do is I bring out their unique ability. I focus on what they can continue to do and also what do they need to start doing. Because when you stop the negative behavior, you create space to start the good stuff and continue the great stuff you've already been doing. What do you need to stop? What are you going to start? Because you've been thinking about it. You've been trying. You've been talking about it. What do you actually need to start to get that dopamine hit? And what are you going to continue doing that already makes you great? When you do that, ladies and gentlemen, you will start comparing yourself to only who you were yesterday. And you can win that more often than not. And when you win more today's than you were yesterday, when you build up those wins over time, you will get closer to those goals and dreams and aspirations you've always had. And I would argue you're going to get there faster And as you go, you're going to find out that those goals, dreams, and aspirations you had, they're going to shift and they're going to change. And life is going to be much more glorious than you ever thought it was going to be, because you are focusing on what you can do today. You're going to enjoy every step along the way, front, back, sideways, left, right, up, down, north, south, east, west. Whatever step you take, you're going to enjoy the step along the way, because you take the time to learn. You take the time to earn that dopamine. This week and every week, ladies and gentlemen, do the fucking thing. Tell the fucking world and show the fuck up. We'll see you next week.